Welcome to the content overview of Visual Arts Class AC9 AVA 10D01 of the Australian curriculum. This is the experimentation of visual arts processes and materials to refine skills and artistic expression. This presentation will show the use of literate and numeric principles found within the general capabilities of the Australian curriculum and can be used to enhance knowledge, teaching practices within visual arts setting.
Here we find a visual overview of how literacy and numeracy elements can be incorporated into activities, new student vocabulary, and a completed work of art. In this case, a cityscape scene within a country town. This class incorporates both literate and numeric elements through all stages and activities. From the general capabilities of literacy, we draw upon the element of speaking and listening, which asks the student to not only interact, clarify, and create understanding of texts, but express these ideas with peers. This is further enhanced through the representation of places, metaphor, and symbolism. For numeracy, measurement and geometry is key, with further emphasis on spatial reasoning, scale, and ratios. Objectives of the class are learning the preliminary stages of creating art, incorporating mathematical principles into cityscape scenes and man-made structures, representation of buildings within our lives, personal reflection, skills in traditional art mediums, inspiration from peers, and a final piece. Texts, being both traditional print-based and electronic, will incorporate necessary art principles, specialist knowledge, and to enhance the 21st century learner, video art tutorials regarding both composition and technical knowledge. All of which is supported by a teacher's own experience within the field and overt teacher instruction to the student.
The text students will create will be both print, digital and multi-module text, using the multi-literacy system as established by the New London Group in 2000, and further expanded upon by Annie Berg. The use of technology, making meaning by studying and reflecting on various texts, and giving students a cultural voice and representation will help in the production of the following.
Using a photo editor to find and reinforce artistic techniques, explore the representation of what buildings have in our lives, creation of digital photograph portfolio, a visual diary which can incorporate elements of a blog or a vlog, and correspondence and letter writing with a peer, which will be further detailed in 2.2 of the assessment.
The expansion of students' vocabulary allows the understanding within a specialist field according to Shanahan and Shanahan, and this is certainly the case within visual arts.
The naming of tools such as types of brush heads, the application of medium being dry brush, glaze or layering offer a new form of vocabulary to a student, which will be explored further in 2.1 of the assessment through the use of Marceau's vocabulary 6-step process model. The frame model will be utilised to make the student understand unique compositional techniques and terms that have their origin from other languages. Repressoir, objects placed in the foreground for attention of the viewer. Counterchains, the reversal of tonal relationships within a piece. And conjecture, a subject that is backlit.
Mathematics plays an integral role within the preliminary planning stages of fine art composition. The 21st century numeracy model, as established by Goose, Geiger and Dole, is the best strategy for the student to learn how to use these mathematical principles when planning their final art piece.
From the inverse square law of how light travels through windows, to the aesthetic rules of the golden ratio, relevant perpendicular lines, shared parallel lines, and the rule of thirds. Ratios come into play regarding the mixing of colours to establish tonal relationships on the piece. Part 2.3 will go further into detail of how the 21st century numeracy model will be incorporated. Activities to incorporate subject-specific literacy and numeracy elements will have the student complete the following: shape and geometry studies, shape and corresponding shadow studies, spatial thinking through rudimentary model making, personal reflection through writing and correspondence with peers, colour studies, monochromatic studies, and the completion of a final art piece.
As you can see within the proposed visual arts class, it draws heavily upon both literacy and numeracy components of the Australian curriculum, which proves Stein's point that the onus is not solely on the mathematics or English teacher to teach these principles to students. Thank you for your time during this presentation. I hope you find the written component of this assessment just as informative and beneficial.